it's worthwhile, I'll put together the ordinance that adopts the agreement, and we can take it up whatever month you want to take it up.
Okay, perfect. I think it's an excellent idea. I guess deep down, I thought we had something like that, but you're doing it already informally type of a situation. But this, I think, having this agreement, I think helps liability wise.
It's been around for a while. This
Yeah.
IPWA has been around for a while, and it really what got me thinking about it again was Kevin Lally had the emergency training thing or whatever it was, and I asked him, I said, well, looks like you have the ability to call in assets. I said, and he's somewhat familiar with this. I said, is this redundant to have this? And he said, no. He says, I can't call in Public Works. So, okay, that makes some sense.
Yeah, I like the idea. Dean, you're familiar with working mutual aid with, in the fire department and stuff like that. So, I'm all for it, so if you want to go ahead and put something together and we'll get her going.
Okay. It's not urgent unless there was something to happen, right away. But, in the next month or two, I can bring that to the committee and then to the board.
Perfect. Any other questions for Dave? Okay. All right. Thank you. Assessor's Office, Jennifer and Sammy, would you guys like to walk us through your report, please?
Good morning. Sorry. So for this month, Board of Review convened. We had our annual meeting on June 13th, and we opened up the Board of Review for the year for 2024. That was held with 2 members because, which is a quorum. We only have 3 members on the Board of Review, but we are short a member at this time. We did discuss where the options at the Board of Review meeting, and Board of Review agreed that we should follow up with Gary Gelbach, who had expressed some interest. So Gary has accepted our offer to be appointed to the Board of Review. So I have a board action request, and I would have to talk to Becky a little bit. We're not voting on it here in this meeting. That's going to go straight to executive for appointments. Okay. So there's some information in your packet about Gary and his interest in joining the Board of Review, and we will actually have that presented at the executive meeting. We also that day had our Farmland Assessment Review Committee annual meeting. We do that once a year, where the committee has to approve the farmland assessments. They are continually increasing it 10% of the median PI certified value from the preceding year, and that has been happening for a while now. Farm Assessment Review Committee did approve those farmland values. Also in the office, we had our annual task list for the 2024 township task lists were due June 15th. We have most of those received in our office, and our staff will be able to start working on 2024. Other than that, I'm working a lot with Property Tax Appeal Board appeals. I had 3 appeals for the 2024 years, a year that has 90 days from the date that we were informed of the appeal to respond. So I have those listed in the packet if you're interested in that. Also, beyond the annual Property Tax Appeal Board appeals for the previous year, I have PTAB hearings scheduled next Tuesday, the 16th, for one property owner that has 3 parcels that will be coming to a hearing. So the Property Tax Appeal Board, the judge will come to our office, and we will hold that hearing for those parcels, and those are also listed on the packet that I submitted. So does anyone have any questions on that?
Any questions for Jennifer?
Okay, I will turn it over to Sammy then.
Sammy?
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jack. Good morning, everybody. accomplishments of the GIS department since our last meeting are we responded to GIS data request from a planning company hired by the city of Dixon. We responded also to a census data request from the West Brooklyn Fire District. We processed and joined the assessment and inspection photos to their parcels. We attended the final meeting of cohort 3 of the Illinois Broadband Breakthrough Project. We attended the 911 Center's Rapid SOS Premium Enablement Meeting. For the work in progress, the GIS department continued to work on processing parcel splits and combinations requests, maintaining and updating land use zoning and other GIS layers. We're also working on updating the 911 and NG 911 layers with the recent information provided by the 911 Center. We are working with the zoning department and the 911 Center to assign new addresses to properties. Also been working on testing data collection and parcel drafter solutions to improve their efficiency and reliability. This is all I have. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Sammy? Sammy, I'm just amazed about all the how much GIS has evolved since we started this. So
Thank you.
It's really,
so much.
you're doing a great job. So I appreciate what you're doing there.
Thank you very much.
All right. No questions for him? Let's go to the county board. Jeremy, administration's report.
Yeah, just a couple updates. In regard to the highway department, we did submit our testing and artifact agreement to the state of Illinois for the archaeological phase 1 environmental testing at the proposed new highway facility site. Waiting to get a response back from them. That might be a little bit before that work starts, but we're still moving forward there. We did get the preliminary plat done as well, and there's a handful of pieces that are still in motion. So just wanted to keep you up to date that project is still moving forward. The broadband breakthrough, as I noted last month, is officially over, at least that initiative with the cohort, but we are still forging forward. We just received a handful of RFI responses that were requested out for internet service providers plans on their expansion throughout Lee County. So my next step is to get our group back together, review those RFIs, meet with the internet service providers, and then work with them on what is called their BEAD funding application, which is essentially federal dollars that are coming down the pipe for essentially expansion plans for broadband and fiber. So our goal is to work with internet service providers on what we want to see, what they're currently doing and what their expectations are, and then assist them on signing off on, hey, we want them to be a BEAD recipient, essentially. So that's great. That's moving forward. There was again, another round of funding, so that definitely helped us. And then, we keep, I know abandoned properties comes down the next group, but I still believe it's kind of a county service as we have multiple of our departments involved in a handful of properties throughout the county, trying to essentially work through either the nuisance of the blight that has taken over or of them being abandoned. We have a list of residential properties and commercial properties that we're working on right now. And I'll allude more to that in our public services meeting and as well as exec, but there's a couple things that are in motion that I think we're going to see some movement on, so we're pretty excited about. Another thing is that all of the departments are working on their draft budgets right now, as we're going to be coming up on August. In August, we do all of our budget hearings with our departments. So we're getting those turned back in. Our internal finance committee is going to start working through those and then meet with the department heads and then have them ready to come back for department, hearings in August. So any questions?
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions? All right. No questions there. All right. County Clerk Recorder Nancy Peterson, want to walk us through your report?
Sure. Good morning. Wanted to give you election department updates. General election is right around the corner, November 5th. It's less than 4 months away. So August 7th is when we begin on the process for applying for vote by mail ballots. And the first day we mail those out are September 26th. Early voting will start downstairs September 26th here on the first floor. And just so you know, in August, also my office will be mailing out postcards. And these postcards are very important if you wanted to sign up for permanent vote by mail. You can opt in, opt out. So you'll be seeing those little blue postcards going out sometime in the middle of August. And that's all I have. Any questions?
So voting is coming up around the corner and you are in need of election judges. And I believe Jeremy and myself and you were going to try and get together to put a campaign out there to try to push out there to get some more volunteers. If we get, well, not volunteers, they're paid.
Right, right. Absolutely. And State Board of Elections also just put out a huge push, an announcement that there, election judges are needed throughout the whole state of Illinois. It's not just our county.
I did it a couple times and I enjoyed myself, during those time periods. And I'm unable to do it now, but it was a good time. It was a good learning experience. And to be part of that process is very rewarding. So I implore anyone that can do it to do it. So we'd like to try to get this put together here sooner than later. All right. Any questions for Nancy? Okay. All right. Thank you. Paul, you're here today. Want to walk us through your report?
Thank you. And did you get it in there, Becky? No, that's okay. That's my fault. I turned in the report late. The last few months, my board reports have been reporting mostly the operational activities we've been doing, supporting departments, deployments of computers, and supporting various activities, and that will be reflected in the report once it gets into you're on board. But what I wanted to mention today, a lot of what I do and my department does is stuff that I would normally talk about probably in what you call executive or closed session, cybersecurity and or security issues. But I'll talk about it here. And I would, Becky, you might refer to it as Paul discussed cybersecurity and power security issues. In terms of, I'll deal with power security right now. You'll see in my capital requests in the upcoming year for additional battery backups and UPSs and the like. And that's just to protect the local workstations and servers a little bit better against any localized power surges or sags within buildings. But also currently, Eric England and I are looking at some sporadic power issues at the LEC, which seem to be quote unquote toasting certain electrical equipment sooner than we would like and or at a higher rate than we would expect. So we're currently working with ComEd and Helm Electric on that. In addition to that, I spent quite a bit of time on cybersecurity and trying to protect the assets of the county. And one of the primary tools that we use is a piece of software that's offered to us by the State Department of Innovation and Technology. Now, this is just one of the tools we use to monitor for antivirus, malware, and ransomware and the like. But the partnership with the state is really kind of cool because they offer the software to us free, just as long as we get quarterly audits, which they're testing our forward-facing internet addresses this week, and I'll get a report and should have something back for the August meeting. See if there's any holes there that we need to be worried about. But our interaction with the State Department of Innovation Technology and the vendor that supplies this software is that so much that they monitor our network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And not only that, they work with federal agencies to help monitor things. And most recently, a federal agency was monitoring essentially social media boards and discovered that a hacker group claimed to be attacking the Lee County, Illinois county website, which we don't host on site. We have an external vendor for that. And so the feds contact the state contacts me and says, you don't really have to worry about it, but just take a look in your logs. And we do have logs that would indicate if anybody was trying to do something to our external website. And I saw a couple of incidences early in the morning where it looked like somebody might have been trying to do something. But then I need to go and follow up with the vendor hosting our site, the state, and see if there's anything else that we need to do. And in this case, the site wasn't compromised. It was called what you call a denial of service attack. They were just trying to shut it down for a little while. Why they would want to shut down our website at 3:15 in the morning, I don't know, because I can't see too many people visiting it then. But that's what occurred.
Not in this country, not
What?
in this country.
Not in this country, but there was another, and they also at the same time tried to attack a middleman piece of software that's used for leads. And leads is a very secure connection for criminal database looks up, and it's really the state's issue to deal with, but we were notified because we're a leads user. And there wasn't anything really to that. The hackers didn't get very far, and they weren't able to slow down or shut down the service at all. But it's those types of threats that I keep up on and have to follow up on, in addition to the spam and phishing attempts. And then my team tries to block those types of emails and or senders coming into our email system. So it's not something that I talk about openly all the time, but I spend quite a bit of time monitoring it and following up on it. And fortunately, the systems we have in place log things well enough right now. But as we go forward with more security audits from the state, more security audits from leads, and security surveys from our cyber security risk insurance company offers the policy to us, they may ask us for more systems to be in place, or or more protection to be in place. And I'm trying to pull all that together to see if there's anything that would affect the upcoming budget now. And right now, I don't see anything else, but because we have quite a lot of tools in place right now. But if there is, I'll work with Jeremy and the board to explain to you why we might need any additional software or services to protect our digital assets here. So, any questions?
I'm just curious if do we have a full backup? Does our vendor have a full backup of our website? So in case somebody
Yes, our vendor has a full backup of the websites, and right now our data on site is also backed up in a bunker in Rochelle, with the exception of 2 servers, which are migrating over to the server platform we have. Then they'll be backed up in that same bunker. They're backed up here on another server, but I'm trying to get an offsite backup and cut for disaster recovery for all of our key data here. So, and all of our external vendors maintain backups of our data, but even Microsoft for our email, while they maintain a backup of our data, they don't guarantee that they can recover it, which it's comforting to know that they promise to back it up, but it isn't promised that there isn't any guarantee of service there. So one of the asks I may have going forward in the future is a third-party backup of our email and our OneDrive and our SharePoint system to provide an additional level of security.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Chris Tennyson, ROE, I see he's not here, but yet his report is in the onboard. There is quite a bit of stuff in there as usual, some really neat information. Veterans Assistance, he's not here as well. Zoning and Planning, Alice, would you like to share your report with the committee and walk us through the two action items on the agenda?
Sure. Good morning. Um, you'll probably notice that my report doesn't line up with the agenda because of the holiday and zoning board meetings and where everything falls. A couple of these are going to have to go to executive. So coming from Zoning Board of Appeals this month, I have a petition number 24P 1627 by AgView FS Inc. They acquired 3.32 acres just west of their existing site located at 2290 Quarry Road in Ashton. They were seeking to rezone to expand on their existing site. The ZBA did hear this and voted unanimously to approve. The second one coming from Zoning Board of Appeals, which is not on your agenda, which will be going to executive, is petition number 24P 1625 by Amoresco Lee County RNG LLC. This is for the proposed pipeline that will be developed in Marion and South Dixon townships. It's comprised of approximately 14 parcels that go from Corregidor Road over to Dutch Road. The zoning board heard this petition and voted unanimously to approve with the conditions that are included in the proposed resolution. Actions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals this month. I have petition number 24P 1628 by Jacob and Emma Lytle. They are looking to rezone their parcel from R2 single family residential to Ag 1 rural agricultural district for the purpose of raising and keeping livestock and or farm animals. As some of you may know, farm animals are prohibited in the R2 single family district. Since they wish to raise horses, they would need to amend the zoning. Also going to ZBA this month is petition number 24P 1629 by Richard and Brenda Humphrey. This is a petition for special use for the purpose of inventory or material storage outdoor for the purpose of storing of inventory or materials in relation to the operation of a skilled trade special use permit for Midwest disposal. As some of you know, this has gone through ZBA. It's gone to the county board. County board sent it back to zoning board last month on the petition for skilled trades. This is a two-part petition where he needs a special use permit to establish a business in the ag district, and then he'll also need a separate special use permit to have outdoor storage in the ag district. So this second petition he has filed is specific to the outdoor storage. I have nothing coming or going to the Planning Commission this month. And other news, State of Illinois has recently passed legislation changing the Capital Development Board Act to require statewide building codes effective January 1, 2025. Once again, the state has put forth rules that we are going to have to comply with come next year. And so my office is going to be developing a plan to be able to comply with what the state is requesting while we continue to work to adopt building codes here in Lee County. Last month, County Board member Allie Huss and I traveled to Portland, Oregon to attend a conference on battery energy storage systems. This conference was hosted by the American Clean Power Association. And as part of the conference, we attended numerous panel discussions that covered topics that are currently impacting battery energy storage systems, such as tax credits, state policy and politics, reforming market rules, cybersecurity, end-of-life management of lithium-ion batteries, national safety standards, emergency response, and federal permitting. The ACP has also published a model ordinance for battery energy storage system, which can assist the county in establishing an ordinance. This conference I really enjoyed this conference. I feel like I was able to take a lot from it. I think one of the most important things I learned is knowing what the battery is doing protects the batteries from future events. So we are going to want to make sure that when these batteries come into the county, that they have an appropriate battery management system. These management systems are key into being able to detect things that may lead to, a thermal runaway event. What we also learned, though, is in the cases of these thermal runaway events, they're not as disastrous as what you may see if you Google. Technology is changing, and how they are designing these systems are changing. And now they have designed them so that if these events occur, they are self-contained. Emergency response, such from fire departments, may show up, but they will typically just stay and monitor the situation. There is nothing they can actively do. So those are a couple of the things that I took away. Allie, did you have anything you wanted to share?
It was extremely informative beyond belief. And I feel that, everything that Alice stated here, understanding the direction the industry is headed, the barriers it does and does not face, the funding and regulation impacts are huge. And I think that Lee County is well equipped with the knowledge gained to be able to form a focus group to work on an ordinance when that becomes necessary.
I would like to move forward with that as soon as possible. We currently do not have an ordinance in place that deals with standalone battery energy storage projects. So we will be looking to tackle that in the near future.
I support that. It's a good idea.
Do you know of anyone that's been waiting for that moratorium to go down?
No.
Okay.
Technically, we are not under moratorium anymore.
Okay.
The moratorium applied to standalone battery energy storage projects. If a battery energy storage system is accessory to a proposed wind or solar project, the state law basically forces us to include those in our consideration. So we are looking to establish a code that would deal with standalone battery energy storage projects. Although we are not under moratorium right now, I don't have a concern that a project will be knocking on our door tomorrow. PJM is not in a position to accept standalone battery energy storage system projects. And they are kicking anything out unless it is accessory to wind and solar at this time. So we do have a little bit of time, but I would like to get that taken care of sooner than later. Also, Jared Yater has been working with my office, essentially as a subcontractor. He has been overseeing the junk car program. Has provided a report. He is currently working with numerous landowners, mostly in the Amboy, Harmon, and Woodland Shores areas at this time. Let's see. They said most are communicating and some are slower at making progress than others. The goal here with this program is to get things cleaned up. So we are not looking to penalize our constituents. We are looking to work with them. So Jared is being very patient. And, if they are resistant to wanting any help or making any progress, we will consider a citation at that point. Also, at the end of this month, my office is looking to host a evening seminar on floodplains. It became very apparent last month that there is a lack of understanding of what is currently in our code as far as floodplains. And we would like to bring some clarity to the board, especially with what we have with the state pushing on us as far as FEMA coming in next year and them being involved in the audits. So we would like to invite you all to this meeting. At 5:30 on July 29th, we will have food. At 6 o'clock, we will have the meeting. This will be similar to the Budget 101. We will be inviting Aaron Conley from the state of Illinois to come and answer questions specific to what the state requires. And so we're really just hoping to bring some clarity to everyone on this issue so everyone feels more comfortable when faced with a vote involving any of the floodplain issues. Last month, we processed 48 building permits and we brought in $8,227.56 in building permit fees. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? This seminar thing that you're putting on, obviously it's open to the public as well.
Correct.
Is this something that we can stream to YouTube? So that way it's there for other people. Hey, go to the YouTube, watch it, you know, if they weren't able to attend.
Yes, I plan to treat this just like a
Like a regular meeting.
open meeting.
Great. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have, there's one petition going to the ZBA. Petition P 24, petition number 24P 1628 by Jacob Lytle and Emma Lytle as owners of certain real property known as PIN number 14-09-05-0300-012, located along Illinois Route 38, approximately 1/4 mile west of Robbins Road and Nachusa Township, Lee County, Illinois. Filed a petition for a map amendment with the Lee County Zoning Office requesting that the zoning map of for the property be amended from R2 single family residential district to an Ag 1 rural agricultural district for the purposes of raising and keeping livestock and or farm animals. This parcel currently zoned R2 single family residential district and is approximately 1.41 acres in size. Is there a motion to move petition 24P 1628 to the executive committee for inclusion on the July County Board agenda? First by Dean, second by Ally. Any discussion on this motion?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Go ahead.
For Alice. Is there any reason or any concerns that you have, Alice, with this property and moving forward?
No, it is on 3 sides. It is surrounded by ag. So it's not a spot zoning issue. It was a subdivision created in the rural areas. So it was a 2-lot subdivision. 1 lot will remain R2. They're looking to change this one to Ag 1, but that would be consistent with the area.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Any other comments? All right, all those in favor of this, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, there is one petition coming from the ZBA with resolutions. Petition number 24P 1627 by Ag Views FS Incorporated. As owner of certain real property known as PIN number 0304 24 300 006, located along Quarry Road, approximately 1.5 miles east of Cartwright Avenue and 1 mile west of South Meridian Road in Ashland Township, Lee County, Illinois. Filed a petition for the map amendment with the Lee County Zoning Office requesting that the zoning map for property be amended from Ag 1, Rural Agricultural District 1-2, or I-2, General Industry District for the purposes of warehousing, cold storage, and equipment maintenance. This parcel is currently zoned Ag 1, Rural Agricultural District. It is approximately 3.32 acres in size. This was added after posting the finding of facts, recommendations, and resolutions for petition 24P 1627. So is there a motion to move petition 24P 1627 to the executive committee for inclusion on the July County Board agenda? Dean Friel first, seconded by Reed. Any questions on this? No questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. There are no petitions going to the planning commission. And there's no petitions coming from the planning commission. Right? There's no old business or unfinished business. For new business, there's a resolution to submit advisory referendum to the voters of Lee County regarding the possibility of separating from Cook County. This is a board action review brought to me by Ms. Shippert. Ms. Shippert, would you kind of explain what's going on here, what you like done?
Yeah, so there is a map out there which I can provide to the board after this meeting of counties that have already voted. First, their county board voted to put this petition on their ballot in November or whenever they have the election. They try to stay away from the consolidated election just because there's so low voter turnout. So in a typical general election, other county boards have voted, yes, let's put this on the ballot. It's a measure that actually would work toward separating our county from Cook County. So it would act as though we're forming a new state, right? Which is possible in the Constitution. We already know other states have done this. Think West Virginia. There's also an effort going on, I believe, in Oregon for the same thing. So a lot of southern counties have already passed this. They get it on their ballot. And then after that, the voters are actually able to vote on the referendum and pass it. I'm not actually aware of anyone that's put it on their ballot that it has failed. I believe they've all passed. And I can provide you with the information behind that. I know Jack has a resolution that is a sample resolution listed in here. And it's actually a draft that came from Madison County. They recently just passed this so that their voters can vote on it. And all we're doing is saying the board believes that the voters should get the right to be able to have a say on this. There is another method to get this on the ballot, which would be about 1,000 signatures. However, this month is the last month that we can work with Nancy's office to actually get it on the ballot. So I do believe in the Lord's perfect timing. I believe that we have the obligation to vote on this, to actually just get it before the county board so the county board can decide to be able to put this before the voters. In addition, I've invited my friend GH to be on the call, and GH is an expert in what's called New Illinois, and it's the effort to look at a new constitution for what it would look like in the state of New Illinois. And in addition, that group is also doing the financial studies for what a state would look like. So GH, if you can hear me, I would invite you to speak now.
Hi, Angie, thanks for inviting me here. Yeah, New Illinois is a 501c4 nonprofit, and our mission is to educate Illinoisans about their right under the U.S. Constitution to pursue the formation of a new state separate from the state of Illinois. People often think we're trying to kick Chicago out of Illinois. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to kick ourselves out of Illinois. This is not a partisan issue. It is an urban versus rural, small town, suburban issue. The reason we're doing this is because Cook County, which is one county out of 102, has domination over the entire state government. They have 40% of the population. The rest of us are 60% of the population, but we do not have a meaningful voice in state government. And so that's the crux of it. Our other focus areas are the fact that Illinois is one of the most corrupt states in the country. Again and again, studies have shown that. And our major concern is with the finances of this state, because regardless of the pronouncements that the governor makes, or the comptroller makes, Illinois is on a path toward financial destruction. And so those are our key issues. We want to form a new state that is separate from Illinois, but in reality, it would be the other side of the state line would be Chicago, urban Cook County, and whatever parts of the collar counties wanted to stay with them. We have a finance committee that includes CPAs, county board people, business owners, and we do have economic advisors that I can't name them, but they are nationally known. And so what we were told from the get-go, because often you hear it said, well, Chicago's the economic engine of the state. Without Chicago, we're going to end up driving on dirt roads and turn into Mississippi. I think JP Morgan would tell you that Mississippi is more financially healthy than Illinois. But it turns out that really isn't true. Without Cook County, the new state would have a population and a GDP that exceeds that of Indiana. There's also a study that has gone round and around for the past few years. It comes from the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University. And they claim that should a separation occur, that basically the rest of the state would go down the tubes, because they point to some unnamed counties in Southern Illinois that are more economically depressed, get back $2.80 for every dollar they send to Springfield, whereas Chicago only gets back 90 cents. And along with the help of one of the financial experts I'm talking about, who was the head of Citibank in 3 European countries, he knows what he's talking about. He said that this study is bogus. They take data from the legislative research unit that had warnings all over it saying it was incomplete data. Don't use it to draw any conclusions on anything. And that's what they based their study on. In reality, that isn't true. We wouldn't go down the tubes. In fact, with a lower tax, lower regulatory environment, our economy outside of the Chicago and Cook County would be doing much better than it is. So I don't know if I answered all your questions there. Was there something I missed, Angie?
I don't think so, GH. I welcome others to ask GH some questions. I know that their board has really been working on putting these studies together. There's a website. Is it newillinois.com, GH?
No, it's newillinoisstate.org.
Okay. And on there is a financial tab that looks at some studies. So that's the financial portion. I was asked to bring GH on here because aside from wanting to signal to our legislators that we would like to create that new state, the concern was that we wouldn't be, maybe we wouldn't be a financial viable option. And in addition to that, would we receive any repercussions when it comes to grants? For example, would we have retaliation? I know other boards in the past have thought about that. And from Laura, who's our expert in the Illinois state referendum, what we're working on to put on the ballot, she has said they haven't had any repercussions in terms of being able to get grant money. Right before I open up to questions for GH, I want Jack to actually read what would be put on the ballot for the voters to vote on, just so we know what we're talking about here.
Okay. What, if we was to pass this resolution, this was what would be put on the ballot. Shall the Board of Lee County correspond with the boards of other counties of Illinois outside of Cook County about the possibility of separating from Cook County to form a new state and to seek admission to the union as such, subject to the approval of the people? And then there's a question mark, then you'd mark yes or no.
Thank you, Jack. So what would happen is the board would vote. Do we want to put this on the ballot? If the answer is yes, then we would have Nancy's department help us put it on the ballot. Then in November, the voters would be able to vote on that. And really what it does at the end of the day is just send a signal to our legislators. Yes, we're interested in looking at getting with other counties to potentially form a new state. Lauren's team, I believe, is working with state legislators to educate them on these financials, what they could look like. And I believe that we can never go anywhere or do anything if we don't try. So any questions for GH?
Yes, Ms. Merritt, to your knowledge, would we need all the 101 counties in order to pass something like this, or to get into conversation, or to get this thing done?
Well, first I should tell you that that referendum isn't from our organization. It's from Lorette's group, which is called Illinois Separation. And so, no, I don't think you'd have to have all 101 to have that discussion. It's just, and the reason we're not doing that, we have the same end goal as them, but we are doing different things. The constitutional process doesn't actually require a referendum. So what we're doing is things like lobbying the legislature for their support. We set up county committees all over the state. We are working on a constitution for a new state. We have a we call a legislature. It can't pass laws, obviously, but it is reviewing the Illinois laws and passing resolutions on them. And so, and then again, working with these financial experts to dig down into the numbers and to create a win-win scenario for both Chicago as well as the rest of the state. So, but in answer to your question, I don't think you need all 101 to pass it. And really all it is just the voice of the people. We've found their work to be very helpful because it gives you data like no polling is ever going to give you. And as Angie mentioned, in the 27 counties where it's been on the ballot so far, it's passed every time, anywhere from 63 to 83%. So that's an overwhelming amount of support for this concept.
And then I have one other question. If all the planets lined up and perfectly, what would be the time frame for something like this to happen?
Well, when Maine did it probably took them like 20 years. They went through a referendum several times. I don't know how long it took in the other 5 states. I know that West Virginia was a lot faster because the Civil War was coming and they didn't want to be part of the Confederacy. And so they had to develop some workarounds, but I don't think it took but like a year or so. So what we've been at this, our organization and Lorette's organization both started in the spring of 2018. And so I think that it could be a few more years. What frankly, this is very much tied to, and we have looked at this since the beginning, is that Illinois, unfortunately, is on a path to go over a financial cliff. And it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. And we have always believed that as Illinois approaches that cliff, we will have our best opportunity for negotiating, because what this requires is the consent of the state legislature as well as the consent of Congress. And so what we're trying to develop now in our financial meetings is what is our negotiating room? Because Cook County represents a larger share of the debt than all the other counties combined. And so we could ostensibly pay more than our fair share to buy our freedom. And that's what Vermont did. They bought their way out of New York. And so there's different ways of looking at it, but it's really tied to the financial crash of Illinois.
Anybody have any questions for Merritt or Angie?
I just want to follow up and say thank you so much, GH, for being here. Like she said, this is the best way to gather data on what our citizens really want. And if we don't have that data, you have to make data-driven decisions in this day and age, which I feel like Illinois hasn't with the things they've been doing. Even Alice mentioned this morning. Just one more thing that Cook County wants us to do. So keep that in mind. What are your thoughts, Dean?
I've got a couple of questions. I noticed on the map that you're basically in the southeast part of the state. You haven't acquired anybody in our area or our vicinity to go along with this.
Dean, that's not GH's organization. That's Lorette's from Illinois Separation Referendum that was here last month.
So this isn't their map.
Merritt represents New Illinois. Lorette is the one from last month that provided that. That's the separation organization, Separation of Illinois organization. That's her map of what's going on. But my understanding is the northern part of Illinois has not put this on the ballot, right? Am I correct, Angie?
Go ahead, GH.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a separate map, and what's interesting is that we have county committees. That's the way we operate. And there's very little overlap in the counties that have passed the referendum and the counties where we're active. We have committees all across the Wisconsin state line, in all the collar counties. And so we have ones in southern Illinois as well, but it's just Lorette lives down in Jasper County, and I live in Lake County, so that probably could account for some of that. But if you look at the places where they're active and the places where we're active, that represents well more than 50% of the counties in Illinois.
So in your organization, you have counties in our area that have agreed to this and passed this?
Yeah, we have. Let's take a look. We have a committee in Bureau County, Whiteside County, Stevenson County, Winnebago County. We're forming one now in DeKalb County, McHenry County, Kane County, Kendall County.
But they haven't passed it to put it on a referendum yet?
No, none of them have passed it. And I think too, like if you look down in Madison County, and even though we are a nonpartisan group, you kind of have to be blind to not see that there's more support from one side of the aisle than the other. And I believe a lot of that has to do with the fact that Cook is solidly on one side of the aisle, and the people in the rest of the state who are disenfranchised, they tend to lean more toward the other side of the aisle. So it's not a reflection on the partisanship of our idea, it's the people that live there. But so you go down to Madison County, that county is bluer than a lot of the other counties in southern Illinois. So initially they put it on the ballot in 2 townships and it passed. So it'll be very interesting. Their board passed it by 2-1. It'll be very interesting when that is voted on, and you'll get an idea of what a little more urban of a southern Illinois county is going to do with it.
So I think, Dean, what GH is saying is geographically, Lorette, who started the separation referendum movement, is from southern Illinois, and that's why it's spread there from 2018 till now, more prevalently, although they are speaking with, of course, us, Ogle County, Whiteside County at this time. But at the same time, GH is saying that she lives in northern Illinois and she has received a lot of support from northern Illinois on the new Illinois idea. So while they're two separate groups, there is support throughout the state, top to bottom, on this idea.
Okay, I personally think that we should hold off on this. That's just my personal opinion. I know everybody has their own opinions or whatever, but I just want to make that clear.
Well, what we can do here is if anyone doesn't have any more questions for Merritt, we can make a motion and then we can talk amongst each other. That's fine. Do it if that's it. So any other questions for Merritt?
I have a question, please.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
GH, how many other active groups are there? We've heard from, last month, we heard from one from Southern Illinois, and now you're representing, I take it, Northern Illinois. How many other groups out here are going to approach us on this same thing?
That I know of, we are the only two groups. There were in the past, a few years ago, like Facebook-based groups, but I don't know that any of them are active anymore. There's some groups that I don't think they're particularly looking for a state split. I'm not really sure what they're looking for, but they are promoting what would fall into the category of pseudo law, like sovereign citizen movements and things like that. And we are totally not into that stuff at all. But you do see these people popping up on the news and having meetings around the state.
Approximately how many counties are there in Southern Illinois using Springfield as I guess, a central location from Springfield south? How many counties down there have already approved a resolution or whatever it was that they're asking for to move it on?
Lorette's referendum, I would say, well, I don't have her map right in front of me. I would say all but Hancock County would be below Springfield. Does that sound right, Angie? But they are having it on the ballot, and let's see, Madison is down south. I think they're going to have it in Vermilion County and one other county north of Springfield this November. And our groups go from the Wisconsin state line all the way down to Pope County on the Ohio River. So,
and I don't know if you've seen the map at all, Mike, but basically the southern part of the state is has already passed it. I thought the number was 27 counties.
mm-hmm.
I had 26, I think, but one county isn't that big a difference.
And I might be thinking of Madison that just voted to put it on the ballot.
Okay. All right, out of the counties, GH, that you commented on in the northern portion of the state, Bureau, and I didn't get a chance to write them all down, but how many of those counties have committed and already passed any type of resolution in favor of this?
Well, none of them, because our group doesn't do a resolution. We form county committees that what we are is an educational nonprofit. And so our county committees carry out our mission on a local level. They lobby their state legislators and just do whatever it takes to perform the educational purpose. And so I know we've met with quite a few legislators up in Northern Illinois and that are supporting us. We got Tom Weber as my representative. Craig Wilcox is the senator. Let's see, Marty McLaughlin, who's out of Barrington. There's a number of them. So we continue to set up meetings and talk to them.
Okay, thank you, GH. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Any other questions for Merritt? Okay. Is there a motion to move the resolution to submit an advisory referendum to the voters of Lee County regarding the possibility of separation, the possibility of separating from Cook County to form a new state, the executive committee for the inclusion on the July County Board agenda?
Hey, Jack, before you dive into that, I just want to make sure it's clear. Are you sending this to executive to put on county board? Is that
Sending
what
to
the
the
vote's for?
Yep.
Okay.
Sending to the executive first. Okay. I have no motions. I'm going to say it again. Is there a motion to move the resolution to submit an advisory referendum to the voters of Lee County regarding the possibility of separation from Cook County to form a new state to the Executive Committee for the inclusion on the county board agenda. I have no motions. The motion failed. All right, I have no executive session. I don't see anything there. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Friel motions to adjourn. Katie White seconds it. All those in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.